This demo is intended to show you how to do table join, specifically in assignment 3. In assignment 3, we have to bring in a polygon map layer, the Pittsburgh census tracts, PGX tracts, and I have it brought in here, and it's a polygon map showing all the polygons here. And if we look at the attribute table, open the attribute table here, we have one row for each polygon here, one row for each census tract, right? And there are different identifications. There's a GeoID 10, which identifies each row, right? So that's an ID. And if we scroll down, we have a lot of data of the different population of different age groups here, all the way down, and number of household and here, and then we also find at the end here, we find GeoID 10 num, which is also an ID for each tract, each census tract. Now, what is the difference between these two? We can go here. You see that it's left justified. We suspect it's a string, but we check the property, and we see that it is a text string. It's string. Okay, so but if we scroll it back down here, we look at GeoID 10 num. It's the same number, but it's right justified, so it's more likely numerical. So we check its property. It is a double precision number, so it is numerical, but it's converted to a number. So now both are keys, but we want to then know how to do the matching. So we also look at the data table that we want to bring in the poverty population, because we want to color the Pittsburgh census tract by the population below poverty level, right? And it's not in here, right? We look at the attribute table and all that data. We don't have the population of poverty population in here. So we need to bring it in elsewhere. So we have this other table that we brought in. We open the table and see this is a data table, not a map layer. This data table has all the census tracts. We have an ID, and then we have population at poverty status, and then we have population at below poverty level. That is the one we want to be able to bring in to the map. So GeoID 2 is interesting because that's an ID for the census tract. So that's the one we want to use to match, but we want to check its type. We see that it's right justified. So we check its type. And yes, we know that it's a double precision number. So that's good. So we have a matching. This matches GeoID 10 num in that attribute table. So now we know how to connect the two, because we find the key to connect the two, and this is the data table. We don't want to do anything with it, but we want to use it. And this is the attribute table we want to extend. So now we go to join and relay, and then do join, and it pops up this join data table, join data window, and it has two choices. What do you want to do to join this layer? And we have two choices. We click down here, we see that one is to join attribute from a table, that's table join, and the other one is join data from another layer based on spatial location, that's spatial join. So we are now doing a table join, so we select the first one, and now we have 1, 2, 3. 1 is to select the field in this table to connect, and then we choose the other table to work with it to do the join, and then we choose the field in that other table to join. So now for this table, we know that we have chosen GeoID 10 is not right because it's a text string. It's also a key, but it's a text string, and we have to scroll down to go to GeoID 10 num. So we select this one, and then the other table, well, we don't have that many tables here. We have only one, unless you go out elsewhere to look for it. But in here, we have just this table. So we select this table. And in this table, which column do you want to choose? And here are the columns, and not object ID is administrative data, and GeoID2 is the one that we want to match, right? So we have it set up so it will look for the matching row and then use that row to extend the row in that original table, right? And now what is here? Join options. Do we want to keep all records? What this deals with is that when the original table, we find a value for the row, and then it looks for a match in the data table. If it finds a match, it pulls that row in, that's fine. But what if it cannot find a match? Do you want to keep that row in the original table? And well, we are also very sensitive. We don't want to destroy any data, so we want to keep all record. But if we want to keep all record, when it finds, when you come to a row that cannot find a match, what do? It will fill in those columns with nulls. That's all. So we should choose keep all records. And you can choose to validate the join. It will just tell you, is there something wrong, right? So if you do a validate, it will check to see, oh, it's okay. Yeah. If you don't check, it will give you wrong results. But okay, so we are ready. So we say okay, then it's done. When it's done, this other table that we use is not changed. It's just still the same table, but the attribute table of the map layer now has changed. If we look at the attribute table, it doesn't look like it's changed, but unless we scroll it to the back here, now we can see that it added this row in here, right? And what row that it add? It's GeoID10 num is matched with this. So this number must be the same as this number. This number must be the same as this number, and so on. So it takes this one, go to that table, find the matching row, and then extend it. So we find for every census tract the population of the poverty level and connect it to it. So we can try to look for if there's one that has no match, then all these other columns that supposedly should come from the other table will have null. Now, but after we check, we see that no, there's no nulls. Everything is fine. So we have pulled data from this table into the map layer, and we can use it. So now we don't have to leave this like total blank. We can begin to color it. So we go to properties, go to symbology. We are already there, and we don't have to do a simple polygon. We can do quantities, right? Quantity, we can use graduated color. We can show, and what value do we want to show? These are all the columns of that attribute table, but now we have extended it, and we want to use poverty below poverty level, right? So we put in those numbers, and yeah, that's not what we want. We want something like that, and then there are different poverty levels there, and well, you have to set up set up the classification, but I will leave it for you to do. If I say okay, we just use this incorrect interval classification to plot it, but it plots it there, right? Okay, so that's done. That's table join, but you can use table join now. This is a demo for it. Okay.